Before we begin, imagine this. A billionaire's own grandson is sent away from the company because no one believes he belongs there. His father watches in silence, wearing a janitor's uniform. The people laughing at him have no idea they're mocking the true heir to the entire empire. But by the end of this story, every one of them will wish they had shown a little kindness. If stories about family, justice, and unforgettable revenge inspire you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end. The ending of this journey isn't just satisfying, it might change the way you look at success, power, and the people you pass by every day. Now, let's begin. Daniel Carter had once stood beneath crystal chandeliers wearing custom-made suits worth more than most people's monthly salaries. Newspapers called him the Prince of the Carter business empire. Investors expected him to inherit one of the largest technology and logistics corporations in the country. His mother, Eleanor Carter, was a legendary billionaire whose name appeared every year on lists of the world's most influential businesswomen. But none of those titles mattered anymore. At 6 o'clock every morning, Daniel tied the faded blue apron around his waist, pushed a cleaning cart through polished marble hallways, and quietly greeted employees who barely looked in his direction. "Morning," he would say with a warm smile. Some nodded politely. Most ignored him. A few didn't even notice he existed. That was fine with him. Because today, Daniel Carter wasn't a billionaire's son. He was simply Danny, the cleaner. Outside the enormous headquarters of Carter Global Industries, the city was waking up. Luxury cars rolled into the executive parking garage while buses unloaded office workers carrying coffee cups and laptops. Hundreds of employees entered the glass tower every morning without realizing that the man mopping their floors technically owned a significant share of the company. Daniel preferred it that way. Not because he enjoyed cleaning. Not because he wanted revenge. But because he needed the truth. 3 years earlier, everything in his life had collapsed. His wife, Emma, had died unexpectedly after a long battle with a rare illness. She had been only 32 years old. Daniel still remembered holding her hand during her final night in the hospital. "You have to promise me something," Emma whispered weakly. He squeezed her fingers, trying to smile despite the tears running down his face. "Anything. No matter how busy life gets, don't let Oliver grow up feeling alone." Daniel couldn't answer. His throat closed with emotion. Emma gently smiled. "You've always chased success because you wanted to make everyone proud. But Oliver doesn't need a successful father." She looked toward the sleeping little boy curled up in a chair beside the hospital bed. "He needs his dad." Those words haunted Daniel every day. After Emma's funeral, he shocked the business world by resigning from every executive position he held. The media couldn't understand why. Financial experts called it career suicide. Business magazines speculated about secret family disputes. None of them knew the truth. Daniel simply wanted to become the father Emma believed he could be. For 3 years, he focused entirely on raising his son. He attended school plays, packed lunches, helped with homework, learned how to braid hair, not because Oliver needed it, but because he volunteered to help at school events and wanted every child to feel included. Life became quieter, smaller, happier. Then strange things started happening inside Carter Global. Profits remained high, but longtime employees quietly disappeared. Charitable programs Emma had loved were cancelled. Small suppliers complained about unpaid contracts. Anonymous letters reached Daniel warning that something inside the company was deeply wrong. His mother dismissed the rumors. "Business is changing," Eleanor insisted. "Our new CEO has modernized everything." That CEO was Victor Lang. Young. Charismatic. Brilliant in front of cameras. Ruthless behind closed doors. Victor had earned Eleanor's complete trust after increasing quarterly profits for 5 consecutive years. Board members praised him. Shareholders adored him. Financial television called him the future of corporate leadership. Daniel wasn't convinced. Numbers could lie. People couldn't. So instead of returning as the billionaire heir everyone expected, he returned as someone nobody noticed. A cleaner. Only 3 people knew his true identity. His mother, the head of corporate security, and the elderly human resources director who had personally arranged his undercover employment. Everyone else believed Danny had been hired through an outside cleaning contractor. That anonymity became his greatest advantage. Invisible people heard everything. "Dad!" A cheerful voice echoed through the lobby one Friday afternoon. 8-year-old Oliver ran through the revolving doors carrying his backpack almost as large as himself. Daniel immediately knelt and opened his arms. Oliver crashed into him with enough force to nearly knock him backward. "I got another A in science." Daniel laughed. "I knew you would. I told everyone my dad would be proud. I am the proudest dad in the world." Oliver grinned. Unlike many children raised around wealth, Oliver had no idea how rich his family actually was. Daniel intentionally kept their life simple. They lived in a modest house instead of a mansion. They shopped at ordinary grocery stores. They rode bicycles together every Saturday morning. Oliver thought Grandma Eleanor simply worked in a very big office. Nothing more. As father and son walked toward the elevators, several executives glanced at them before looking away. One whispered quietly to another, "That cleaner brings his kid here every week." The other shrugged. "Probably can't afford childcare." Neither realized Daniel heard every word. He simply smiled. People often revealed their true character when they believed someone had no power. Oliver looked up. "Dad?" "Yes?" "Why do some people stare at us?" Daniel gently adjusted his son's backpack. "Because everyone is carrying a story we can't see." "I don't understand." "One day you will." "Should we be angry?" Daniel smiled softly. "No. Kindness always confuses people who expect arrogance." Oliver nodded thoughtfully, storing another lesson inside his growing heart. On the 42nd floor, Victor Lang stood before floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the skyline. His tailored Italian suit fit perfectly. His smile impressed investors. His confidence dominated every meeting. But behind the closed office door, another side emerged. "Fire them." His assistant hesitated. "Sir, they've worked here for 23 years. I didn't ask how long they've worked here. But their performance." Victor interrupted. "I said fire them. They're too expensive. They're loyal to old management. And loyalty doesn't increase quarterly earnings." The assistant lowered her head. "Yes, sir." Victor returned to studying financial reports. Every experienced employee represented a problem. Experienced workers remembered how the company used to operate. New employees questioned less. Obeyed more. Cost less. Exactly the environment Victor wanted. He smiled. Soon even Eleanor Carter herself would become unnecessary. Meanwhile, Daniel cleaned conference rooms after executive meetings. Most people ignored him. Some complained about coffee stains. Others dropped trash directly beside empty bins without apology. Daniel silently observed everything. Every conversation. Every whispered deal. Every frightened employee. Patterns slowly emerged. Departments with outstanding ethics records suddenly received budget cuts. Managers who questioned Victor mysteriously resigned. Suppliers connected to board members received unusually profitable contracts. It wasn't enough evidence. Not yet. But something was definitely wrong. One rainy evening, Daniel entered the underground archive room searching for discarded paperwork scheduled for shredding. Officially, cleaners weren't supposed to examine documents. Unofficially, people threw away astonishing amounts of evidence. He carefully sorted papers before noticing a folder accidentally mixed with recyclable materials. A single page caught his attention. Projected layoffs. Employee replacement strategy. Executive compensation increase. His eyes narrowed. Several signatures appeared at the bottom. Victor's. 2 board members. And someone else's signature had clearly been removed. Almost sliced from the page. Why? Before Daniel could investigate further, footsteps echoed nearby. He quickly returned the papers and continued mopping. Victor entered with another executive. You destroyed the originals? They're gone. And the digital copies? Deleted. Victor nodded. Good. If Daniel Carter ever comes back, there'll be nothing for him to find. Daniel's grip tightened around the mop handle. His heartbeat accelerated. So Victor wasn't merely taking advantage of the company. He had prepared specifically for Daniel's return. Which meant Victor knew the rightful heir might eventually come home. But how? Daniel kept his expression calm while pushing the mop bucket toward the exit. Invisible. Forgettable. Exactly what Victor believed he was. The CEO barely glanced at him. Cleaner. Finish this floor before morning. Yes, sir. Daniel lowered his eyes respectfully. Inside, however, every instinct screamed that the game had just changed. Someone inside the company knew his identity. Someone had warned Victor years ago. And someone was helping cover their tracks. For the first time since beginning his undercover mission, Daniel realized the corruption reached much higher than he had imagined. As he stepped into the empty hallway, his phone vibrated. A message from his mother. Emergency board meeting. Monday morning. Be there, but stay undercover. Trust no one. Daniel stared at the words. His mother rarely sounded afraid. Tonight. She did. He looked through the glass wall toward the brightly lit executive floor where powerful people laughed over expensive dinners and million-dollar deals. None of them noticed the cleaner quietly pushing his cart toward the elevator. None of them realized that every polished floor reflected the face of the man destined to inherit everything they believed they controlled. And none of them could have imagined that, in just a few days, one decision inside that boardroom would ignite a chain of events that would shake Carter Global to its very foundation. The first move had been made. The real battle was about to begin.